So let me turn on one more light. I don't know if it'll help a little bit, but. Okay, so we'll sit in cross legs or Virasana, whatever is a comfortable position to start seated in, and stabilize your hips, your base, so you're starting to feel compacting in with the outer thighs, the outer hips, and sharpen your flex of your feet for a moment so you really connect with the outer foot to the floor and poke your buttock bones into the blanket or the floor, whatever you're seated on. You really start to feel a toning feeling with your legs, and the legs almost start to feel solid like earth. And then from that, go down and let yourself feel heavy with your legs and your feet, hips. From the base, lift up with the spine, draw your lower vertebrae in, pull the abs back a little bit and the lower vertebrae in, and then there's a kind of a narrowing feeling at the bottom of the trunk. Breathe and let, from this pulling of the lower spine in and the kind of the belly button back, from that, draw up. And just, even if it's imaginary, just draw energy up through your spine and notice if it kind of stops somewhere, that energy, and see if you can just let it continue thoughtfully, like noticing, feeling how the energy is rising. If it kind of stops, sometimes it stops around the heart and sometimes it stops around the throat. And just see if you can, with your imagination, just let it continue to rise all the way up to the top of the cervical vertebrae. Broaden your collarbones so that your shoulder blades can start to flatten onto your back. There's still that heavy grounded feeling with the legs and that narrowing at the waist and lower vertebrae. And then the energy in the spine up. Bring your hands in prayer. Close the eyes. Inside of the head, the energy is no longer shooting up. It's level, like it's plateaued, and it becomes more broad around the level of the eyes and the temples and ears, the level of the brain. The energy is more broad, horizontal, level to earth. Feel the breath. Allow the in-breath to fill the chest, front, side, and back. Notice how these few moments draw you into your body, into the moment. Begin with one Om. When you're ready, you take an inhale. Bow your head down and continue to feel your breath. With your head lowered and that breath filling the chest, see if you can take the top shoulders back a little bit. And let's bring the hands down onto the legs and just still stay feeling breath. In breath, filling front, side, and back chest, head lowered. And then let your head float up to neutral and opening eyes. Go ahead and straighten out the legs. And so your legs, just really stretch them and stretch your feet. Okay. All right, so a few more of you have come into the class. So let's do reclining simple cross legs. So just see if you can lay down and fold the legs crossed. But if you can't comfortably do that, you could take your blanket and roll it from that long side and wrap it around your ankles underneath your knees, and that'll make the legs probably a little more comfortable. So either one. So either just nothing under your legs and laying down in simple cross legs, but if that's not really comfortable, then just take that long blanket wrapped around the ankles and underneath the thighs. And if you're in that simple cross legs and you start to get a little bit irritated, then of course it's fine to come up and grab the blanket. And then just see if you have space to stretch your arms over your head. Let your breath come in a little bit fuller. Lower your arms, and let's just change the cross of the legs. If you're using the blanket, you have to kind of reach down there and grab it. But just make sure your legs are really comfortable. So if they're even just slightly irritated, it would be good to grab the blanket. And then if it feels good, you can put your arms over. If your back arches a little bit when you take your arms over, it's okay. Just let it. Just breathe and kind of let your body be. And then bring your arms down and just hug your knees in. Just nice and easy. So your arms can just sort of rest over your shins and relax your shoulders and your belly. And now we'll roll over and sit back on it. So then a number of us need a blanket under the hips for these seated poses. So if your lower back is tender, you can always take a blanket and use it underneath your hips and sit up, or if your hamstrings are tighter. So then let's go right leg bent and left leg out a little mild wide position. Now, if this knee is uncomfortable at all, you can try taking a blanket underneath it and even really flexing that foot. And of course, if this just doesn't work on that leg, then just take it out. So you're always going to be really mindful about the quality of the knee. And the other leg, the straight leg, take it just out to the side a little bit. So it's like a really easy wide leg position on straight leg. Yeah. Okay. All right. So let's twist gently to the bent leg side. So sitting up nice and tall. And then come on back in the middle and just gently twisting to the straight leg side, nice and tall with the spine. Good, we'll just leave the legs and we're gonna turn back to the first side, to the bent leg side. Now, before we do another movement here, really keep the straight leg heavy and grounded. And see if you could bring your fingertips forward a little bit to the inside and outside of that bent knee. And then just curl over the bent leg. It's not like your head has to come down to your knee or anything, but just soften and breathe. And then curl back up, and we'll sit all the way up in the middle. And we're going to take a soft, easy turn to the straight leg. And then bringing the hands forward a little bit to the inside and the outside of that knee. And then again, just a real soft curl over the leg. You don't have to go far. And you breathe. And then up you come. And we'll just sit up for a moment in the middle, and then we can change the legs. So the right leg can go out into really mild wide legs, and the left leg you'll bend it. And when you're bending this leg, you just put it in the most comfortable place, like for your ankle and your knee. If it's way up in the air, if the knee is way up in the air, then I do suggest you grab a blanket and support it. And then first we'll just sit up nice and tall, and we're gonna revolve and stay upright. We're just gonna keep the spine up nice and long and turn gently to the bed leg side. You're breathing. In the middle, and we'll go nice, long, tall spine upright over to the straight leg side. And then back in the middle. Good, and then turning out to the bent leg. And before we go over it, you really want to keep the straight leg down. So just imagining it really heavy at the top of that straight leg. Fingertips can come forward, and it's just a soft curve, a soft curl. You don't need to go far. Just breathe there. That's it. Good job. And then rising back up, and we kind of sit up for a moment. Energy is definitely different when you're upright. You feel that. And then we'll take a nice soft turn towards straight leg. And then you're going to come forward again with your hands. And it's just a curling of your upper spine, maybe a little bit in your middle spine, and for some of you, even into the lower spine. And you're breathing. And up you come. And sitting upright. Now let's just go out with the both of them wide, but make it really mild, really easy for the angle. So you're not like having a fiery feeling inside the inner leg. Okay, and then we're going to take the right hand and just slide it down a little bit on that right leg. Good. And then your other leg really firm down. And if you feel like it's okay, you can reach up with the opposite arm. Make sure you're breathing. Legs firmly to the ground, and then we'll come back on up. And a moment in the center. And then when you're ready, slide where you're comfortable. Left hand down, and if you feel like the background can kind of open up away, you can reach the arms apart. So you're breathing and pressing the legs down to the earth. And rising on up. Now, say your back is starting to spasm or tire, then it would be a good idea to recline onto your back and just let your legs be bent, feet on floor, and let your back rest if that's where your back is right now. And then those of us that are feeling like this is still going fine, we're going to repeat this, taking the right hand down and the left arm open and really pressing the legs towards the ground. Now, if this is your end, you just stay here for where you're comfortable. If you're able to go a little further, your bottom arm, your right arm, you could lower it, bending the elbow and lower it, and then possibly reaching the top arm up and over. But just go where you're comfortable. You're breathing and the legs are still firm, and then rising back on up. We'll pause for a moment in the center, just going to gather ourselves so we're feeling like we can understand our range of where to go, and then when you're ready, you can start the other side. Either staying here in the preliminary one or lowering the bottom arm and reaching over, still breathing and feeling legs to the ground. And rising on up. Now help your legs with your hands and kind of pull them in. And now we're all going to lay on the back. And keep your knees bent and just recline yourself on down. And lay there for a moment where you just let your back relax to the ground. Soften your belly. Soften your shoulders, your chest, your neck, your jaw. And now let's cross the right ankle over the left knee. Maybe we'll stay here. And then if you want to deepen it, you can pick up the foot that's on the floor and curl in the legs. breathing. And releasing feet to ground, and when you're ready, we'll do the other side. So it's optional to stay here or deepening by pulling the legs in. See if you can relax your belly a little. And undo it. We'll stretch hamstrings just a little bit. Put feet on floor. When you're ready, draw your right leg in and then stretch your right leg up, either holding the back of the leg or holding the toe, whatever is really, a reasonable thing for you to do with that right leg straight. And those of you that want to deepen this can take the left leg to the ground. Couple breaths here. Trying to straighten up that leg that's up. And then we'll release and go on over to the other side. Just when you're ready, catching the left, straightening the left. Optional to hold at the back of the leg or the toe. And also optional to straighten right leg on ground. Feel your breath. Observe what tightens, what starts overworking unnecessarily. So relaxing the jaw, the throat, the belly. Just feeling that steady, smooth breath. Good. Okay, hugging two knees in, gently drawing those legs in. All right, so let's do a little bit of movement in through the hips. So have your two legs bent where you're holding your shins, and then just separate your knees and feet and draw the knees up a little deeper towards the armpits, and then go ahead and relax that. Now just keep your right leg kind of in that position and put your left foot on the floor with the left leg bent. And so your right shin is a little bit over to the right. And see if you could put both of your hands on your right shin and just draw that right knee up towards the right armpit. Relax your belly though, so that it kind of like tightens up. Okay, so now we're gonna put the hands, instead of on the shin, we're gonna put the hands underneath the kind of the back of the knee, kind of at the top of the, sort of near where the hamstring and the knee come together on that right leg. And see if you can pull the knee towards the armpit again and keep it there. And just see now if you could start bringing your right foot flex towards the ceiling. But don't let your thigh change position too much. So your right thigh is going to stay close to the rib. Yeah. Just keep your right thigh close to the rib. Right knee is bent. Good. And then undo it. And we'll just straighten both legs on the ground. Just stretch them out, push them down. And then rebend both. Grab your shins, take your knees and feet apart and pull your legs in. Try to bring your knees towards your armpits. And then keeping your left one there, put your right foot on the floor. So both hands are on the left shin and pull it up towards the left armpit. And then put your hands underneath by the back of the knee, kind of near where your hamstring and your knee come together. Keep your thigh there and just see if you can flex your foot towards the ceiling. So just the shin bone moves. Yep, you got it. Couple breaths. Good. And then putting both feet down and then both legs down, flattening the backs of your legs towards the floor. If it feels good, stretch your arms over your head. Try to really move your legs down. Breathing here, a nice long stretch through the body from the waist to the feet and from the waist to the tips of the fingers. And we'll take Setu-Bandha. Go ahead and lower your hands, bend your legs, bring your heels near your buttocks and lifting your hips up. Get your arms under you a little more so you're more on your arms, less on your upper back. Take a breath. And lower your body down. Good job. Okay, so let's roll over and sit on up. Okay, so I'd like to do Jani Shirsasana with your head down on either a chair or a blanket setup. The couch doesn't really work because you gotta have space to put your leg underneath something. So let me just do it really fast so you can see what I'm talking about. And then you might decide if you need to get up and grab a chair. So I'm gonna turn sideways to you, and I'm straightening out my left leg and bending my right. And then a person who is a little more flexible could put a bolster on their leg, folding their arms and putting their head down on the arms. And oftentimes, you know, you might need just a little bit more height there. But say you're not so flexible, you could use a chair. I don't have a chair out today. But you could put your straight leg under a chair and bring your head down like that. So if it's available to you with what you've got today, let's do Jani Shirsasana with the head on support. So that could be the chair, a bolster with lots of blankets. And so let's bend the right leg, straighten the left. If the right knee is aching in this, then you're certainly welcome to take that right leg out straight and have two legs straight, or place a blanket underneath the knee. And if you can, put your forehead right down. So when your forehead touches in a pose like this, you don't want to push. You don't want to press the forehead down. It has a light touch. Try to relax your jaw, shoulders. There you go. So a few of you just got there. If you've been there the whole time, go ahead and switch over to the other side. But if you feel like you just got your stuff, you could stay for a few more breaths. But those of you that have been there for the whole time, go ahead and just switch it over to left leg bent and lower your head right down. Now, if you put your head down and your body is screaming, then just sit up. So don't stay if it's too hard. So if your head is down and everything is just rebelling against that, then it would be better to sit up. Again, when the head is down, it's just a light touch on that forehead, relaxing the jaw. And it's always fine to sit up and just take a few breaths. Good, and then go ahead and come on up. All right, so then let's do the same thing with a wide leg. So you're going to sit in wide legs. And if you're using the chair, you're just going to put that chair over your right leg. And if you're using a bolster setup, you'll put the bolster on your right leg. So it doesn't have to be really, really wide. And you want to feel stable with your legs to the ground. Turn towards the right and bring your head down on whatever, you know, prop setup you're using, whether it's the bolster setup with lots of blankets on it, or the chair. And then try to let your head just lightly rest on whatever it is. I cross my forearms on top of the blankets and put my head on my forearms because it makes it higher. And higher is sometimes better in these. Nicely done. And then keeping the legs really firm to the ground. Come on up. If you're using the chair, be very mindful about moving it. And those with the bolster, it's a little bit easier. You can just take that bolster over on the other leg. Try folding the two arms if that works for your shoulders and lowering forehead onto the forearms or the wrists. And it's just a light touch there. Feel your breath. Feel the legs connected to the ground. Knowing that if you need a break, it's always okay to sit up. If you need to come out of this for a moment, it's fine. And then let's all come up. Okay, so helping your legs with your hands, you can take that stuff off of your legs, help them, and just bring them out straight forward. All right, so then if you can if you have the space, do legs up the wall. And if you don't have space for legs up the wall, if you have a chair, you could do legs resting on the chair. But if you can, do legs up the wall instead. Or, legs on a piece of furniture like I do. So a lot of you have gotten in there and just feel the way your back rests to the ground. So if this is not comfortable, if this is hurting your lower back, then it would be better to take a folded blanket underneath your hips or put your legs in cross legs. If your lower back is feeling strained doing this, then you could fold the legs in cross legs. Or use a blanket underneath your hips. So this is really just to relax and soften the back after that little bit of seated forward bend. So just letting your legs really rest. Your belly relax. All right, so those that are using the chair, you're just going to let your legs rest there on the chair. And those that have the legs up the wall for a moment, let's go to simple cross legs. So if your legs are straight up on the wall, just fold them and let them bend. And if you're using the chair, just let your legs rest in the chair. It's optional to put your arms over your head if that feels good. And then just cross the other leg over if you're doing the crossed legs. And then just straighten them. If you're at the wall, just straighten them up for a moment and then let your arms come into a resting position if they're overhead. And then we'll bend the knees and roll over and sit on up. Alrighty, so if the chair is on your spot, go ahead and move it away so it's giving you a little bit more space. And we're going to use a bolster if you have it. And if you don't have a bolster, you can use 2 blankets. So if you've got a bolster, put it onto your right side, like I am doing, where it's off to my hip, perpendicular to my hip. And if you don't have a bolster, it's easy to make with a couple blankets. You just fold your blankets up that long, narrow fold and stack them. And so you make a bolster. All right, so then we put the 2 legs forward, and this bolster or blanket stack on the right side like that. And then when you do this, you want to you start in the beginning position, sort of the basic shape of it, and then you just relax and let your legs do whatever they want from there. So I'm going to bend my left leg and pull my foot back that way, kind of like Virasana, but really loose Virasana. And then I'm already kind of leaning over this way. So I'm going to go with that and turn onto the outside of my straight leg more. And that's where my feet, my legs, I just let them do whatever they want. And so for me, they both like to bend and kind of slide and shift. And I just let them. And then lay yourself down on your blanket stack or your bolster stack. And then put it in the most comfortable place. So if you need to adjust your chest a little bit or the position of the pillow under you a little bit, do that so that you can really relax. And even, you know, if you need to move your hips a little bit, do that and relax your arms. So there's a tendency to sort of support yourself with your arms. I usually position my back arm kind of in this direction. So it's running hand back towards my hip. Yeah, but just whatever works, wherever you're the most comfortable with your arms and shoulders. And stay here for a little bit, for a few breaths. So you really just want to start softening, releasing, allowing your feet to deeply relax your legs. Just keeping the softness, come up, pressing your hands, come up. You could even like have your eyes like halfway closed and just so you're keeping that softness. And then when you're ready, put the bolster over on the other side. And that's the right leg that bends back. And you start turning towards the pillow, moving it wherever it's most comfortable, really allowing the legs to slide and shift into their comfortable position and softening across the upper back, shoulders, arms. Don't worry if you need to reposition the pillow or your legs, and just deeply relax feet. and just keep all that softness and press yourself up. So we're going to go to Supta Baddha Konasana next, classic pose. So if you've got a bolster, we'll use it. If not, grab some pillows, some used pillows, and then a blanket on the back of it for your head. And so some of us need that blanket folded up in half. It's to make the neck comfortable, so however high that needs to be. And then a second blanket, we'll use it from the long side, rolled, and that long roll will go around the ankles, under the outer thighs, and you'll recline yourself back, chest elevated. So if you can, you have your 2 feet touching, your knees apart, and then a bolster or stack of pillows behind your spine, so that we're going to have an elevation in the chest. One more blanket under the head, so the head is slightly higher than heart. Arms at the sides, palms up, drape open across the collarbones, across the chest. And of course, if the legs are not restful here, you can extend them straight if needed. So hopefully for most of us, this is a pretty soothing and comfortable position. So let's see if we can allow the body to relax and rest into the blankets, into the pillow. Relax the jaw, let it recede. Let the tongue recede. Feel even that the cheekbones recede. Eyes rest back. And so it's like the front of your face. Move softly back. Feel your natural breath, just however the natural breath is moving. Feel it, and kind of with a friendliness, a sweetness. See if on your exhalation breath, if you can softly let your belly empty. It's not a pulling at this point. There's no sort of effort with this. It's just a releasing of the belly towards the spine on the exhalations. Not to worry if that doesn't happen, don't worry. Just make it really easy, really natural feeling. The belly is just emptying on those exhales. Keep your jaw soft and receding. And on your inhalation breath, see if you can really softly open in the chest. So you're just going to take a slightly fuller in-breath and just let it come into kind of the side rib area, You might feel your front ribs move a little bit. Don't make it a big breath though. It's just to be just a little bit longer than normal. Notice if your jaw pulls up towards the ceiling. See if you can keep it resting back. Your throat soft, your face soft. On your exhales, you're gently emptying the belly. And this is nothing like a big full breath. Just make it really easy, smooth, just a little longer than natural breath. See if you can really allow your body to rest back into the pillows and blankets. And then let that breath go and return to your normal, natural breathing. And we're going to gently roll over onto the side. And you could just lay on your side for a moment. Just roll all the way off of your pillow and lay on your side. And then pressing your top hand to the ground, kind of lean yourself up with your head low, and you'll sit up. So just taking a few moments sitting in any comfortable position. And the next pose we're going to do is support child's pose. If you can't do a child's pose because of your knees, then you could lay on your back and just gently draw your legs in instead. But those that can, use your pillows and your blankets in front of you and make a kind of high prop for your chest. You'll be on your shins in your child's pose with your knees apart. Sit back towards your hips and pull this prop towards you so that you can lay your chest on it. It shouldn't feel like it's pushing up in your belly though. So you don't want it to crowd your belly. It should be more under your chest. And of course the head has to be comfortable. So, your head and neck, you just make it where your neck relaxes. If the knees are bothering you, then undo it and lay on the back instead. And again, this is one of those ones where higher is sometimes better. So go ahead and be generous with the blankets and the pillows under your chest. And then notice how that makes you relax a little bit more, possibly. Turning your head at any time if you need to put your head facing the other way. The arms are optional. Sometimes I put my arms back by my feet. Just let yourself rest into the pillow stack that you've got under you. And of course, if the knees start to become irritated, then you need to come out of it. Feeling the breath. Breath moves differently in this than the last one. You're just noticing it, how it feels. Alrighty, go ahead and rising up, and we'll undo that bend of the legs. So carefully coming down with the hips and taking out the legs just for a moment to straight leg. All right. So next position can be done on a bolster. And if your low back is a little bit tight or a little bit tender, that this might be too high to start with. So for some of us, we'll just go to a single blanket first. So I'll do it, and then you can, some of you will just remember it and see and know that you might be better off on just the blanket. So I'm going to sit sideways on this, just so I get my hips up on it. I turn. I'm going to leave my legs bent, use my arms behind me, and I'm reclining my spine onto the prop, and then I take my shoulders all the way down to the floor. So you could see how, if your lower back is a little bit tight, maybe being lower on just a single blanket might be a better way to start. But just leave your legs bent, begin reclining back, and remember, shoulders go all the way to the ground in this. Head and shoulders on the floor. But I'm going to get up and look at you guys a little bit more closely. That looks good. That looks fine. So then if you're ready to change your legs, you can. Sometimes I have to keep mine bent for a really long time. So if it feels okay, you could put your legs out in a resting straight leg position. But if that's too much in your back, you just bend them right back in. Sometimes my back needs a good long while before it will allow for that straighter position of the legs. So don't rush it. It's better to be in a more soft and receptive feeling in this. And so if that means legs bent, that's better. Just let yourself see if you can allow for the energy to feel like it's falling open across your chest, ribs, and belly. So from the throat and the jaw, allowing for that little bit of the feeling of the jaw receding. Knowing it's totally fine at any time to bend the legs if they're out. Okay, so then we're going to bend the knees and just pause for a moment with your feet on the ground and feel. And then I think for me, the best way to get out of this is to lift my hips and shove the pillow towards my feet. I know for some of you that is a little bit difficult, but see if you can lift your hips up and just get your hands under there and push the pillow away, and then let your back come flat down on the ground. All right, and then with the knees bent, roll over and sit on up. Okay, so for some of us, that's a big movement, and we might need to do a more resting pose next. So if you're feeling like that was a lot on your back, then the next thing I'll have you do is this one. So I've turned the prop, and then I would lay like this. So this would be if you would feel like your back needs to, you know, kind of quiet down after the last one. But then let me show you the option. If you're feeling like the last one is a really good for your back, then we're going to come back into it with a variation. So I'm seated on this again. I've reclined, taking tops of shoulders down, and now I'm going to bring my feet up onto the prop in Baddha Konasana. So this is an optional next pose. But like I said, if you feel like your back is kind of done with these, then you would be better off here with the spine flat and the legs folded onto the prop. So either one, if you're starting the seated one, just take your shoulders down, and you can't slide off it too much. So you really want to tuck your shoulders down and then see if you can bring your feet up onto the prop. There you go. That's it. You can, the feet are together and the knees are apart in Baddha Konasana. Now I know if you're really tall, sometimes you need a little bit of a longer bolster. So sometimes we might need to grab a folded up blanket or a block there for the feet. But for a few of us, we could just tuck the feet in a little closer and have them right up onto the bolster. If it's available to you, put them in Baddha Konasana though, soles of feet touching. That's it. And like I said, you know, if this is too much, then you're going to come down back flat instead. And always just stretch your legs out too if you need to. So if you feel like you're really fighting with this one, then it's okay to just put your legs out. So optional here, if you're in the Baddha Konasana and you're just feeling like this is heaven, then just stay. But the rest of you that are struggling a little bit with this, go ahead and lower the back all the way to the floor and cross. See if you can turn the bolster and fold the legs on it. So the one that I showed as the option. So if you're in heaven, just stay. And otherwise, you're going to flatten the spine onto the ground and put the prop under your legs. Cross them. That's it. So hopefully at this point, you're starting to feel like really relax, rest, allow, release. Whichever position you're in. So if you're not comfortable in the position you're in, then make sure you come out of it and get into something a little more soothing. And then if your legs are crossed on the bolster, just change it if you haven't. And if you're still in the Baddha Konasana, Slowly make your way down. Put your feet on the floor. Push the pillow towards your feet. Let your back rest on the ground. Just go flat with your back. Just lay there for a moment. Let your back settle. All right, and then everyone come into a regular Shavasana, just with, if you like, the bolster underneath your knees, if you like. So first, what we're going to do is just a regular Shavasana. So your back down, flat, and if you like, the bolster underneath your knees, and get it where you're comfortable, you know, blanket over you if you need it, you know, so that you don't want to be cold. So first, we're just going to lay ourselves down, and we're going to do preparation for deep breathing. So first is just to come into Shavasana, letting yourself rest and soften, allowing for deep relaxation of the legs. Takes a moment to get yourself set up where you're real even with your back and even with the arms and legs, and you're comfortable. So, you know, if you need to adjust something, of course, that's fine. And begin really, really relaxing the weight of the arms and legs once you start getting situated there. And see if you can deeply let go of the legs. All around the tops of the legs, relax, release. So the inner groins, hip flexors, outer hips, and hamstring attachments, all up at the top of the thigh, just soften. Allow the weight of the femur bones to rest down. Just imagine the knee joints clear, prana and energy just flowing effortlessly through the knee joints, and feel the calves to be shins heavy, and then the ankle joints clear. Really relax the feet, tops of the feet, arches, toes and heels. The legs, really, really let it go. Relax your arms, the weight of the arms, heavy, elbows, you feel them on the ground. More arms, wrists, hands soft. Really allow the hands to let go. Hands do so much for us in here. Just soften them. Backs of hands, palms, first thumbs. Feel the natural breath. Relax the face, jaw. Allow the back skull to softly flow away from the shoulders. Eyes recede. Tongue recedes. Throat soft. Chest soft and belly soft. And the back body resting into the earth. The front body really easily dropping back into the back body. Surrendering. So in preparation for deep breathing, one of the key things is looking for smoothness and steadiness in the breath, also for relaxation of the body. So it's not like you have to have a really full deep breath. You would it would be good to have the breath within your range where you can really allow for that deep relaxation. The first alteration of the breath is the extension of the exhalation only. So you have a normal inhale, and then the exhale is just a little bit longer, smooth and steady, and you really want to relax. And then when you're ready, you have a normal inhale. And again, when the exhalation is ready, it's a longer exhale, smooth and steady, and you're trying to still really let go. And then you have your normal inhale, still really letting go. So the softness of the body is just as important as the extension of that exhale. Just take a few cycles like this where you're doing and only extending on the exhalation breath. Look for ease. Look for softness in the face and throat, smoothness of the breath. Don't rush, but when you complete this next exhale, just let it go and go to normal breathing. And so you're in a normal inhale and a normal exhale. You're really letting go, relaxing, releasing. It's a moment for the breath to come back to its normal rhythm. And then we'll do the opposite, where we're going to extend the inhalation breath only. So you have a normal exhale, and then your in-breath is slightly longer, slightly deeper, smooth and steady. And then you let it go, and you have your exhalation breath, just your normal exhale. And once you're ready, your in-breath will be a long, smooth, steady inhale, looking for that softness, that relaxation. And then your normal exhale. We'll just do a few cycles like this. Really let go, let the body rest to the floor. Smooth, steady breathing, only extending the inhalation breath. Observe how you feel. Notice what hardens, notice what tightens, and see if you can relax. You transition differently from this one. Over the course of the next few breaths, allow the exhalations to extend little by little. So over maybe next 3 or 4 breaths, each exhale will get a little longer, incrementally letting the exhalation breath extend. Eventually, you will have a full, steady, smooth inhale, a full, steady, smooth exhale. See if you can allow for this deep letting go of the body, relaxing the arms, legs, hands, feet. As the smooth inhale breath comes in, relaxing throat and eyes. As that long, steady, smooth exhale breath goes out, really relax arms, legs, body. Letting yourself rest deeply observe how you're feeling. If you feel uncomfortable with this long of a breath, you need a break. Of course, you let go of the breath and go to normal breathing. If you can maintain a few more cycles of extended inhale and extended exhale, see how that is for you. See how you feel with the extended breath. Can you relax? Can you soften the face and throat? Can you balance attention on breath and the relaxation of the body? And complete the cycle exhaling out completely and go to normal breathing. And just really let yourself be. So your normal inhale, normal exhale, again with that kind of sweetness, friendliness, and you're just really letting everything drop away from you now. See how you feel here. Because we're at home, you have the option to stay in Shavasana if you choose. If you are ready to come out of Shavasana, take your time. Just really with your own rhythm, your own feeling, take your time. Those that are staying are just, let's all leave the mics muted because a number of people will stay in their Shavasana, and so we don't want to make too much sound. So we'll just leave the mics, be quiet, and those that are coming up, just take your time. And so, for being